It is Tuesday, the 30th of September 2025. I'm doing this video specifically for men that are dealing with bladder cancer and catheters and so forth. On early April 2025, I was diagnosed with aggressive bladder cancer that has gone through the bladder wall and into the fat surrounding the bladder. That was done in Pretoria. The urologist then said I should go for chemotherapy for 3 months, and then after that 3 months he will remove my bladder and my prostate and install a bag for me, and so I'm not going to discuss the procedures. Then one of my channel supporters contacted me and told me that I need to see a wellness consultant before I make any decisions. So I had an appointment with a wellness consultant the afternoon after I saw the urologist. During that consultation with the wellness guy, I decided to follow the natural route. When I came back to Nelspruit at home that night, my wife was obviously extremely upset because she's a professional health worker and she did not have any faith in the natural way. Be it as it may, it was my choice and I followed that. I started using the medication, and about by the end of the 2nd month, I noticed that I was urinating blood more frequently, but it was old black blood. You could see it was black blood, it was not bright red. And it was during the midstream, so it's not at the end of the stream. And then I started urinating pieces. And one of the guys that is supporting me said to me that you must just understand that the medication is now busy destroying that cancer. And obviously your bladder can't absorb anything. Everything that comes loose must come out. And I accepted that. But by the end of the 3rd month, I picked up a serious bladder infection, because you can understand that bladder is a bloody mess and it's an ideal environment for infections. I was afraid of infections because a bladder infection can very quickly spread into a kidney infection. And I'm an old guy, I'm 73 years old, I don't want damage to my kidneys. So we managed the infection and I carried on, and 2 weeks after that, as I promised my wife, I went for a full blood analysis, a urine analysis, and an MRI scan. Now, I did the MRI scan roughly about 3 months after I started the procedure. On the MRI scan, it was quite clear, and I did that with a local urologist in Nelspruit. And we could clearly see on the MRI scan, there was no cancer outside the bladder. The bladder wall was intact, the works. And the growth was inside the bladder. The urologist then said, okay, you would like to go in for another scope and scrape. And I said to him, look, I'm on this natural process, and he was very skeptical. He said he doesn't believe in it at all. But I can carry on for another month, and then I must come and see him, and then we'll make an appointment for the procedure. So I used it for another month, and that, when I went for the consultation prior to the procedure, I looked at the sonar, and from what I could remember of the previous sonars, the thing looked to me a lot smaller, plus it also looked a lot less dense. But be it as it may, by that time, on the 21st of August, I started peeing blood and pieces continuously. And it is psychologically quite a shock for a man to stand there and pee and you see blood and pieces fly. But people explained to me, look, the medication is destroying the cancer, it must get, the remnants must come out. And I accepted that. The thing that was, to me, what is important, is that the first CT and the pathology clearly stated that it was very aggressive, and it was through the bladder into the fat around the bladder. Now the MRI 3 months later there was nothing outside the bladder. The bladder wall was intact, and that was my first question that I have, is what happened to the pieces outside the bladder. But obviously it's gone, but the urologists don't believe in the medication. I'm using ivermectin, fenbendazole, methylene blue, vitamin D3 plus K2. I'm using soursop. I'm using vitamin B, Co, and vitamin C. All of it in high doses, except the ivermectin and fenbendazole was actually quite low dose. Okay, so it was decided that I must go for the procedure on the 16th of September. So on the 16th of September, I pitch up at the hospital and go through the process. And I woke up with a catheter hanging out of me and feeling very uncomfortable. I had this constant pressure in my bladder and things like that. The urologist came to see me and he explained to me that he's quite sure that he has taken everything out. I said, okay. And he said, but you must understand, I've scraped a large surface area of your bladder. I would guess between 70 and 80%. That's why I want you to keep the catheter in for 10 days at least, because I don't want that scarred bladder to be pressurized, because it will not like it to expand. And it made sense to me and I accepted. So I left the hospital with a damn catheter, and that was a nightmare. I suffer a lot from catheter spasms. It felt constantly and continuously as if I want to urinate, but I'm not urinating, but I can see the urine flowing into the bag and so forth. And then another awkward moment is if you want to take a crap as a man. Sitting on the toilet, taking a crap is a natural process and it goes hand in hand with urinating. All of a sudden you're seating yourself there with a damp pipe running over the seat. It's awkward. And the other problem is, any pressure you exert on the rectum was also creating pressure on the bladder with the discomfort associated with the bladder. So I carried on with this. It was not nice, it was hell. I couldn't sleep well. Every hour or what I had to get up and stand up straight because it felt as if my bladder was full all the time. I went through that and the catheter spasms was horrific. But then 10 days down the track and I went to see the urologist and he pulled the catheter out. Now that was not a nice experience, but fortunately it's quick. Less than a minute and it's over and done. Initially I was worried that I would be peeing in my pants after he has taken the catheter out, but fortunately that didn't happen. And then I got home, glad to be rid of the catheter, but then the fucking new nightmare started. I had to go to the toilet every 30 minutes, maximum. 30 minutes, I gotta go. And that was not good. And it was day and night. So I didn't sleep well. It was bad. The catheter was taken out on Thursday. That was last Thursday. Friday I started with the process. And then on Saturday evening, it was becoming rough. Sunday was very bad. And I'm surrounded by discomfort. And not really pain, but very discomfort. Uncomfortable. Now I want to tell you about referred pain. That is something that is associated with the urinary tract. And I, just for interest sake, passed 57 kidney stones in my life. So I've got a damn good idea of how these things work. So while the stone is up in the kidney, you've got that excruciating pain in your back. And then as the stone moves down the ureter, the lower it goes, the less the pain becomes in your back, but the pain shifts to your testicles. And as that stone hits the bladder, the pain shoots into the tip of your penis, away from your testicles. So that's how I learned to judge where the hell the stone is. That's referred pain. So the pain is not where the problem is, the pain is somewhere else. Why am I telling you that? Because this is a fuck up that you will experience after that catheter is removed. Now, your personal experience may be different from mine, it will obviously be different from mine. But as I said, a very large area of my bladder was scraped. Now, whenever I want to urinate, it is very uncomfortable for the stream to start. It's not a strong stream because it's low volume. And at the end of the stream, it's shocking. The spasms in my penis. It is excruciating. But what I see and how I imagine it is as the bladder is emptying, obviously it is slightly contracting. And that contraction, the pain from that contraction is referred to my penis. So it doesn't help me to take medication for a pain in my penis, because that's not really where the pain is. But you will experience it as if it's there, and I can assure you it feels fucking real. It might be referred, but it feels fucking real. And over the weekend, that became almost unbearable. And then on Sunday afternoon, my wife went to the chemist and she came back and she brought me some stuff for the spasms and so forth. And some pain medication, capsules. I started using that, and on Sunday night I actually slept for about 3 hours. On Monday it was better. The frequency was dropping. I could go for an hour, sometimes an hour and 15 minutes. So it seems to me that the bladder is slowly but surely healing and becoming able to stretch a bit more. But I have to go through that, and I'm sharing it with you so that you, a man that are listening to me, can understand that this is what's happening. That's part of the process. The doctor didn't tell me this. I had to experience it myself. I had no fucking idea how hard it's going to be. But it seems to me that I'm now reaching a point where it's beginning to become better. Now, I will keep you updated on this, and I hope that you find value in this. Because for a man, that's a sensitive area that we're talking about. And the big problem is the men, they're not keen to talk about their experiences or discuss their experiences, and they don't know where to get information or advice. Because they do experience these things that I've experienced. And they all the time feel worried that there's something wrong. So, let me summarize it. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the spasms that you will experience in your dick. It is referred pain from the bladder. And it will get better as the bladder gets better. So, if you like it, give me a like, give me a subscribe. And if you've got a friend or family that can find value in it, please share the thing. Thank you for your support.